Hemlo, hemlo, hemlo. Happy Has-Been Hotel premiere day. I have been quite excited for the show since the pilot. And obviously I've been keeping up with Helluva Boss as much as I can. Which is to say I'm pretty sure I've seen all of it, unless by the time this comes out there's been another episode. Which, quite frankly, is not surprising for anyone. I thought that I would celebrate by painting some of my favorite two of my favorite characters from Has-Been Hotel specifically, because obviously Helluva Boss I have different favorite characters, because that's how that works. We're going to start with Al here. I've also just realized that the video that I made that explains what the absolute hell this series is actually set to come out later. So it's supposed to come out after this one, and that's mildly annoying. Oopsie doodles. Oh man, I keep forgetting they gave me this nub, like you could set that there, except as soon as you move it, it falls out. Anyway, I very much enjoy the show. I can't wait to see where the actual rest of the series goes, because obviously I thoroughly enjoyed the pilot. I mean, if I didn't, I wouldn't be here, probably. Being honest, would be silly for me to be here painting the characters if I didn't enjoy the pilot, now wouldn't it? So, obviously, we will see how the rest of the series goes. I'm not annoyed per se about the voice changes, because we kind of obviously knew what was going to happen when you switch from doing something on YouTube to doing something that's being produced by a studio. You kind of, I think, end up stuck going with the union ones, whereas on YouTube you can choose whichever you want. For like an actual big production show, they basically make you use the voice actors that are parts of the union. It is kind of weird to me that there isn't more than one union of voice actors, but I don't know, there's probably stuff back behind that I don't understand, because quite frankly I've never bothered looking into it a huge amount. But anywho, I kind of just thought it would be fun to get in here and to paint. And, like pretty much every wannabe edgy person that exists, my absolute favorite character in Has-Been Hotel is Alistair, because of course it is. So I do have this mild problem in which I don't know how to just like a thing. I'm either indifferent towards it or I obsess over it. There doesn't really seem to be much of an in-between in my brain. So when I say that I like Alistair, I'm gonna let y'all figure the rest out from that. But anywho, I don't really have a huge amount to say, so I could have probably done this without the face cam and then sped it up, but that would require editing, and I'm not very good at that yet. I am looking forward to seeing the rest of it. I know I shouldn't be looking at the leaks, but also I have very little self-control. And so I've been watching the leaks, even though I shouldn't be, because my ability to stop myself doesn't exist. Um, just being honest, most of the only leaks really that I have actually been keeping up on, that I have actually been spoiling myself with, has been the music, because I'm kind of obsessed with musicals. I kind of love musicals. I need to watch more musicals, but part of the problem with that is that so many musicals intentionally make themselves inaccessible unless you go and see it in person. And the problem is that seeing it in person is expensive. So I have like a list of musicals that I desperately want to see that I need to actually get around to. You decided to be slightly out of water. Rude. Oh dear. So yeah, I love, well, I love music kind of in general, and so I feel like it's only natural that I also love musicals. Why are you being so stubborn and not dripping out? Thank you. Apparently I just have to whine about it for a bit and then it suddenly works. So yeah, I have been listening to a lot of the music, and like Poison obviously wasn't a spoiler. I'm pretty sure it was actually just released as a trailer almost, where it's like, here's the music here's one of the songs that's going to exist. And to the surprise of no one, everyone started comparing it to Addict, because that's what fans do for some reason. Just can't possibly just leave it alone as its own separate thing, and it has to be compared to the other thing that came before it. And like, I get that, but like, also, can we just enjoy the song without having to be like, but it's not like this other song that's supposed to. No, it's a song. They don't have to be exactly similar. Leave it alone, please. Yeah. And so I know there was like a lot of like whining and controversy about like the new voice actors and everything else. As far as I've heard, they all sound like they're either taking it in their own direction, which is fine, or I know me saying it's fine sounds a little bit wrong, but what I mean is them taking it in their own direction kind of makes sense, because otherwise you're never going to get away from the direct comparison between the voice actors. So like, I think Nifty especially sounds like she's just kind of doing her own thing, and I'm like, I respect that. You don't have to pretend to sound like the original voice actor, especially given that the original voices only really got the pilot. And like, I know a good chunk of why everyone was upset by the new voices is because everyone got attached to the voice actors via the live streams. I understand that that's part of it. Everyone decided they were fully attached to the voice actors because they were watching all the live streams of like animation and whatever for that stuff. And like, I get it. I just kind of, as strange as it may sound, I kind of prefer that they do their own kind of thing over trying to impersonate the original voice actors, because if you're trying to impersonate the original voice actors, there's no way you're going to escape the comparison. And I don't know if that made any sense whatsoever. It made sense in my head. Unfortunately, that's not the important part. I think part of the other problem people have too is that we've had so long between the pilot and the thing coming out that everyone kind of started having their own kind of headcanon voices for the characters. So hold on. I forgot to look up a reference thing for the newer design. I have the old design kind of down packed, but the newer design is, that's actually kind of amazing actually. One of my artworks, hold on, I'm gonna do the thing. Hold on, we're just gonna switch for a minute. One of my artworks made it to one of the first pages of the Yahoo searches for Alistair. That makes me very happy. Anyway, now that tangent's over. It's only like 3 lines down from the top. That makes me very happy. Oh, and there it is again. They're like, here, look at your own thing. Problem is my own thing is not the new design. I mean, they didn't change much. I think they mostly changed the outfit, but I would rather be sure. New design. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they really only changed a tiny bit of the outfit and, like, they lightened his hair slightly. But, like, the main difference is they outlined his thingy in white, and honestly, that doesn't really affect my thing because, well, hey, I hate when they do that. I hate when when you click on a reference and it's like, no! No art for you. How dare. No, please show me, like, the thing. There we go. Yeah, they essentially, like, slightly defluffed his hair, made it a slightly different shade. Changed the shape of his staff, which, honestly, I've always kind of assumed his staff was supposed to be the new shape anyways, so. And then they added the white outline. I know a lot of people were also complaining about the redesigns, but I'm like, most of them aren't even that drastic. Why are you complaining? Also, this hair dried a lot darker red than it was supposed to, so I'm going to have to go back in with a lighter red, or actually, maybe this pink will work. I was not expecting you to dry down that lightly, or that darkly. It looks dark. It looks darker on camera too, which is obnoxious. Because the problem is what you're seeing is on camera, and in person it looks slightly less dark. So there we go. I think they might have also darkened his skin tone a little bit. Not like a huge amount, but like enough that it's a little bit noticeable. But mostly it looks like slight tonal changes. Yeah, that looks better. In person it looks significantly better, but, you know, on camera you can tell the difference too. Here we go. That dark red is closer to what I'm going to want for his suit. his bit of his tie suit. Actually, I think I'm going to use this pink for the gem too, because it's a nice dark pink. And that's pretty close to what his gem color is. Especially given that this brush also still has the red in it, which just makes it darker. There we go. Resist urge to just lick it clean. Got to stop doing that. Anyways, later there will be a video that explains what this kind of series of little painting things that I've been doing is. I kind of did the scheduling a little bit wonky because I'm in a little bit of a futz. The problem is that his skin tone is like a gray browny color, and that's a difficult color to get with paint. So we're gonna go with a base coat of gray, and then I'm gonna go over it with a peach, and we're gonna see how that goes. It helps to have like a vague idea of what you're doing. The problem is that when I say I have a vague idea of what I'm doing, usually I mean like incredibly vague, which is kind of the problem. Do 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 do. So yeah, I am very, very excited about getting to see more from this world. I am very, very happy that my boyfriend has Amazon Prime and also thoroughly enjoys this show. Actually, one of the sets of cosplays that we had intended to do at some point in the near future is going to be Vox and Val, because he's a tech guy, he does IT and stuff. So, like, it makes sense for him to just be like a humanoid Vox. And I kind of accidentally stumbled across literally Val's hat for like $1 at a thrift shop. And I'm like, well, and when I say accidentally stumbled across, I mean like it was on a high shelf. I think someone on the other side accidentally bumped into the shelf, and the hat fell and landed on my head, and I'm like, well, I feel like that means I'm gonna need to get this now. So that's a thing. I actually started working on that cosplay. The problem is that because I'm chonk, the sleeves are almost always a problem for me generally. And now I get to completely delete that costume, because by the time I'm going to be wearing costumes again, I'm going to be thinner and thus not need that costume, which is mildly annoying given the amount of work that I've already put into it, but also I never managed to get it to fit correctly anyway, so I'm like, I'm like annoyed by the fact that I have to get rid of it, but also, like, since it never fit anyway, I'm not quite as annoyed as I could be. I feel like that makes sense. I think this red should be darker. We gon' see. Yep, good. Gonna probably end up darkening you up again with more brown anyway. But, and someone out there is going to be like, this is why you shouldn't be using the palette-y ones, because you can control how dark and light it is if you're using the regular ones. I understand that. The problem is that I don't have... When I'm doing watercolor, it's very specifically because I want to paint, but I don't have the patience to argue with acrylics. And the problem is that using the regular tube watercolor tends to end up causing me to be annoyed more than anything, because I can never get the colors to be right. And I know that the only way that I'm going to get better at making the colors right is if I practice getting the colors right. It's a double-edged sword. It's annoying as hell. And I can't be bothered to keep fighting with it, so I'm just gonna do it this way, and I know how to do it this way, and we're gonna go from there. So here's the thing that I noticed, not really recently, but more recently than I probably should have, which is that his face is actually kind of made to resemble an old-timey radio, and that's why his teeth be yellow, because they are made to look like the little speaker area of an old-timey radio. And, like, I know I should have probably noticed that earlier, but I'm also sure there's probably a couple of you out there that are like, what? They did what? So there's that. Also, I know I'm not the only one that likes giving Alistair a tail. I just continually give him a tail. I know he probably doesn't actually have one in his design, at least not that we've seen, I don't think. Unless they changed that in the new episode, because the, I know the pilot, I'm pretty sure the pilot, he doesn't actually have a tail. Everyone was just like, he's a deer, I'm giving him a tail. Me included. Hi, it's me. I do that also. The eyes need to be darkened over. I usually prefer using brown to darken reds and yellows, because it seems like it causes less problems than if you're using black. Like, brown seems to work better for shading for both reds and yellows. There we go. That's what I wanted. Doodly doo. And let's see if I can get a little bit of shading in here. There we go. I also tend to prefer using... So, his ears and hair detail tends to either come off as brown or black, and it kind of seems to depend upon the lighting, which I guess makes sense. I usually end up using dark brown, because to me that looks better with the red. Especially given the amount of black he kind of already has in his thing. I feel like the brown is a more natural progression from the red in terms of it being hair, anyway. So, also, anyone else kind of seem to have problems drawing Alistair, like, straight on? because his face and nose shape kind of doesn't work as well head on as it does from the side. That's probably like more of a me thing than like a general problem. But my brain never knows what to do, how to draw his nose when it's straight on. Like, at least in some of the song, because I've tried to avoid the actual animation for the songs. I've just been doing the songs themselves, but obviously most of them just have, that even just do the songs, have like the pictures from the animation or whatever, and at least it looks like they show more from the front angles of him, which should make drawing him from the front easier for my brain, hopefully. Unless my brain decides to be more stubborn than normal. I do hate how blurry this camera is. But, you know, eyes. The problem is that I'm slightly limited on the amount of reds that I have, but I think this red should be close. That was way too much water. Oopsie doodles. Oh well. Ooh, it is a really pretty red, but it is also just way waterier than I wanted it to be. Yeah. Sometimes these brushes like to just drip so much water out at once. It's mildly annoying. This one I'm gonna end up darkening. Suppose I can just go over the whole thing and not try to keep the middle. And that one is actually pretty close to the correct color. Because then I can go in and... Oh no, you're weirdly drippy again. I didn't add any more water to you. Why are you being a dumb? Watch me struggle to make watercolors work for however long this video ends up being. Alright, I think I'm gonna do the pupils as gel pens. I think that's gonna work better for me, actually. Yeah. His doolity-doo is also gonna look better as a gel pen. Which means is background time. And you know what? I'm just gonna use this. Alright, you're not gonna see for a bit because I gotta do the edge of glory. And I'm hanging on the moment with you. I'm on the edge, the edge. Edge, the edge, the edge, the edge, the edge. I'm on the edge. The problem is that I do this regardless of whether or not there's anyone I'm trying to be in front of people. You're just hearing the thoughts that live in my head as I'm doing things is the thing. There we go. I forgot to do the bottom edge. There we go. Canvas edging is important. It makes it look better. This color is a lot closer to your hair than I would like, but I already have a solution in my brain hole, 'cause I was already gonna do it anyway. Later, by later I mean I don't freaking know when, but I might end up also doing a painting of my OC that I made, because of course I made an OC, and of course it's a self-insert, because I'm a weeb and I haven't gotten away from doing that. Why would I? It's fun. So you might get to meet her later. Maybe, I don't know. So, I have a couple different ideas for another thing that I'm going to be doing, and I don't know which one I'm going to end up going with. Because I have a lot of thoughts and I have a lot of characters. So that's a thing. This one appears to be taking longer than normal. That's alright. Not that it matters. All of these unedited crafty ones are always take forever, because hey, surprise surprise, doing crafts and art takes a while. I know, weird, right? It's almost like it takes time and effort to do things. It's okay, this one is almost done. And then I can start... Ah, dang it. You did the really ridiculously wet drippy thing again. How dare. Oh well. You know, perhaps I should get something that I put down before I do this that protects the mat, but also the mat is literally here because it's washable, and thus I have to worry less about it because it protects the desk. So like, why would I? Like, part of me is like, I should probably have something to keep the mat from getting disgusting while I'm painting. And the other part of me is like, the entire point of the mat is that it can be washed. Like, that was why we got this kind of mat in the first place, was because it can be washed. So why would we protect the washable mat? Doo-doo-doo. Where's my mid-size one? There you are. You can tell how I usually get the paint onto the brush on these, because there are little tiny holes drilled into each piece. There's little tiny holes kind of drilled into each little watercolor palette-y thingy. because I usually get the thing by going. That's usually how I pick up color from watercolor palettes, is I wiggle it in a circle until the tip of it gets covered in the color. And you can certainly tell that that's how I do it, based off of the little holes drilled into each of the little watercolor palette bits. Whee! Me choosing to do this might end up meaning I don't put the stripes in the background. We'll have to see. We shall see. That faded out kind of nicely, actually. Anywho, sorry, I'm gonna go quiet just at random anytime I do these because my brain starts concentrating. And because I run out of things to say, because there's only so many things that really can be said about doing a thing, I think. And then you're just doing the thing. I do like how this is working though, because this black blends in quite nicely with these pink. And that's the other advantage I find with using these pens. Like, sometimes they're really obnoxious, but I feel like paintbrushes also do that. The thing is though, is that sometimes they're actually incredibly useful because they don't dry out in any way, shape, or form. And so since they don't dry out in any way, shape, or form, you can just keep spreading the color, and it makes it mix better, especially for watercolors at least. It seems like whenever I'm using these, they mix better than using the regular. I can get the blends to work a little bit better. There we go. I like that. I do. I really, really do. Yes. And I think I might still add the stripes, but I think I might have them like fade off in the top. That way it's not getting mixed in too much with the shadow. That would make sense, right? Anyway, y'all need to dry. And it's time to start Angel. Because naturally I also love Angel. Angel, at least so far from what I've seen, is the only voice that I do have a little bit of a problem with the change with. And it's very specifically only the speaking voice. Which is weird because the singing voice and the speaking voice previously in the pilot were two separate voice actors. I'm pretty sure most of them were. But I think I prefer Angel's pilot voice over the... And we don't have a huge amount of the talking voice available. So I'm sure I'll probably end up liking it better when we have more. But at least as of right now, I like his pilot voice better. But honestly, I think the singing voices are pretty well matched with each other. Like, obviously, Addict was done with the original singing voice, and Poison was done with the new singing voice. And honestly, I kind of really like them both. Like, I can't choose a favorite. I feel like the only reason Poison right now is ahead is because it's new. But, like, Addict is literally my alarm to wake me up in the morning. And I still love the song, which tells you that it's a good song, I feel like. I feel like if your alarm to wake you up is a song that you can still enjoy listening to outside of that, I feel like it means the song is a good song. Why are you being more stubborn than normal? Okay, there we go. Thank you. So, Angel's redesign also was very minimal, which makes sense. Like I said, I'm pretty sure all of the redesigns were very minimal. At least from what I've seen, they're very minimal. Which I feel like if something's already working and people already like it, why bother changing it a huge amount, you know? I'm not even sure why they did the changes to begin with. I'm guessing it probably has to do something with making them so that they can be, so that they have more consistency. Or so that colors pop out better or something. Or maybe it's because since they're being done by new artists and animators, they're like, well, we're going to do things, we're going to change them a little bit. But they knew if they changed them too much, the rest of the people that already liked them and were invested were going to have a fit. So, which, I mean, honestly, I feel like you have to, there are limits to how much that you can redesign a character, especially if it's for something that already has an established fan base. So all in all, I feel like the redesigns that they did were like the perfect amount of, you can tell that there was a redesign, but it wasn't so much that it's no longer the character. And that can be a thing that is hard to get correct. Thinking Angel, I probably should have erased more. Because of how light colored he is. Oh well. Ah well. Oopsie doodles. Mistakes were made and lessons were learned. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they weren't. Maybe I'll just go back to doing the same thing again. I try to learn how to do things better, but brain is very much like a sieve. It kind of just is full of holes, and kinda gotta figure out how to work that better. It's a difficult process for my sad little brain to function. You might might be too red, but I can go back in and darken you with brown. Brown. Yeah, you are very much too red. Oh well, again, I can just go back in and darken you with brown. Whee! Yeah, I've been listening to Poison like a lot. The other new song that I've been listening to a lot has naturally been Alan Vox, so again, that shouldn't be a surprise, given that I've already said that my other favorite character was Al, and we were already thinking about doing a Valentino and Vox cosplay thing, so like this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, really. Those have been the two that I've been ironically addicted to. This is also the same color that they use in his eye. So here's a fun thing that I noticed with Angel's design. And again, I'm sure everyone else noticed it before me, but I'm also sure some of the rest of you will not have. The extra little dots under his eyes that are freckles are also the other 6 eyes to make him have 8 eyes for the spider. That's why the dots are the same colors as his pupils. Or at least I assume that was the intention. If it wasn't, then that was a design choice they made and implied with. But I feel like they did that intentionally. It would be weird if they hadn't. I need to remember that because these things are finicky, I can't just squeeze them over the watercolor. I have to squeeze them into my hand first before I grab the color. It's weirdly difficult to remember to do that. Is this going to be a dark enough color? Barely. But yes. Doodly 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 doo. Okay, it is the same it is also the color that his eyeshadow is. Thought it wasn't 100% sure. This one I had the reference pulled up already because I am in a near constant state of forgetting which eye is which. And I'm also in a near constant state of forgetting that his one eye, the eye that isn't the dark eye, is yellow and not just a white. So I pulled it up beforehand so that I wouldn't forget to do the thing. I think I'm gonna make the hearts this shade of pink too. Actually, it would make more sense for me to do that after I do the background, huh? Because then I can just go over them with things. Oops. Oh well. It's not like doing that accidentally with watercolor wastes a huge amount of pigment. Your eyes are just very lightly. They're not quite yellow, they're more like an orangey kind of peachy tone. So I'm just gonna lightly go over that like such. And then I'm going to probably remove the pigment from the brush, because your teeth also do that. Because then I can remove the pigment and then go back in and not make it accidentally darker. There we go. I knew Angel was going to be quick because, well, I'm not gonna make that joke. We're gonna not make that joke. This is YouTube. There's only so many jokes I can get away with, even if I'm not monetizing things. At least not yet. Do I have a gold pen up here? I thought I had a gold, like an actual metallic gold pen up here. It turns out it looks like I don't. That's weird. I mean, it's not, but oh well. I will just have to use a yellow then. Like a nice dark yellow for his golden tooth. Strange. Well, I do have a gold colored pencil that might work. I might just use that. If I really, really wanted to, I have some gold washi tape that I could possibly stick down. The problem is that washi tape really doesn't like sticking to canvas very well. I'm gonna need you still later, but I think we're gonna go with a lavender background. That way it doesn't completely blend in with him. I don't know why this brush is so wonky. Why are you so wonky, brush? Oh, well. Obviously, I'm gonna have to go in with a smaller brush to get the bits and hair and whatever. Okay, now you're just not picking up any color. Why? Oh! Did you do the dome? I think this brush might be the brocated. That might be why. Oh yeah, this brush is doing the brocated. So this is the one that I had to fix already once, and the problem is that the little thingy will not stay in. The little regulator thingy will not stay in unless it keeps kind of leaking a little bit. Alright, well it looks like this brush's last time that it gets to get used then. Which is annoying because this is my biggest watercolor brush pen. And it's actually incredibly useful to have. One this size, but if it's going to be leaky and not working very well, there's only so much that you can do, especially when you can usually get a pack of these for not a huge amount of money. They aren't massively expensive, especially given how convenient they are for use. I actually think that that's a really nice purple. And I think it goes quite well with this pink. Yeah. Some of the pinks are much lighter and thus blending in with the purple more, because that's how this works, but that'll be fixed once I go in and outline everything also. Because I do like outlining my watercolors. I'm weird like that. I feel like it makes it look a little bit more finished. I know not everyone likes going in and outlining their paintings or whatever. I just think it makes it look better. And no, unless I tend to do it. Alright, before I delete you, so I'm going to show the thing real quick before I throw it away. I don't know if you can see in there, but see that little white dot? When I put it like this, you can see that it's sticking up weird, like such. It's not supposed to be doing that. And you can push it back in. The problem is if there's a it's really easy to accidentally mess these up. And so you push it back in and then it's just going to keep floating out. And the other problem is it doing that makes it really leaky around the rest of the edges. Both around this black part, because the white thing kind of acts as a suction. And that, combined with its bristles being all weird, just means that it's not worth me keeping. But if that little white thing ever floats up and you do need to keep it, you can just really easily push it back down. As long as you have something that can reach in there, like a pencil tip or something that you can just kind of use to push it back in. It's not too difficult to do that. It's just that that one has a habit of leaking out, or of coming out consistently, which tells me that it's a defect rather than it just accidentally messing up occasionally. Because like it is pretty normal to have to push that in every so often. The problem is that it's been basically every time that I've used it, it's been doing that, which is more than it should be by like a lot. Which is why I'm kind of just like, I'm just gonna get a new one. You can get like a whole set of them for like $10 to $15, depending on the brand and whatever. I think the whole set that I have was only like $15. They're also incredibly useful for like if you're on the go, because you can take a set of watercolor pencils, and then you can just take those, and then you can just take like a couple of those, and then you can just do watercolor wherever the hell you want. Because watercolor pencils is essentially a watercolor that you can take with you easily without having to worry about spilling anything. And then combined with these, which contain the water, which means that you don't have to worry about spilling anything with them either. It works really well. It's actually a thing that I I actually have a set of watercolor pencil that's in like my bag that I take with me, and like a couple of these so that I can do that. Which is actually why I don't mind even if I do have to buy a whole other set just to get that one particular brush. Because it just means extra watercolor brushes that I can put in other bags. Yeah. Yeah. And now you can sit over here and dry while I do ow. Doodly 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 doo. You sit there. You sit there. You go away. Yeah. Yeah. Anywho, ow. I'm gonna need this. Probably. This. Probably. I have pencil cases kind of everywhere. Well, not pencil cases, but little pencil holders kind of everywhere. So, if you ever see me just kind of leaning around trying to find stuff, that's probably what I'm doing, is I'm grabbing stuff out of the pencil cases. You and you and you. Yes. Yes. Oh, we're gonna see if you work, actually. You might not. I doubt you will. But why? Why you escape? I need you up here. Rude. Also, I do wish this camera had, like, any zoom. So the problem is that this is the default for the art camera that I have. Which means it's just automatically this zoomed in constantly, and it's mildly obnoxious. Oh yes, this gel pen actually works quite well on canvas. I actually wasn't expecting it to work that well on canvas. We're being completely honest. Well, good to know. I might just use you to fill in the eye, too. Because I want the eye to be darker rather than the pupil. I'm in a near constant state of forgetting that. There we go. That looks better. This one I need to be much darker, though. Do I want to throw... Yes. Just a little bit of detail into the hair. There we go. There we go. I like that. You go up here. Up here. You go up. Excuse me. Thank you. Yes, you go up here. You know, the place that I put you. How dare. How dare you be rude? You should be darker. Also, I haven't pulled the little wax tip off of you. Let's see if you're the darker version that I think you are. You are perfect. You work less well on canvas, though. So that's a note that I'm gonna need to take. It's important to remember when working with gel pens to not accidentally stick your fingers in the ink. Yes. I think I want to go around the pupil. Well, not the pupil, but it's not. It's not the pupil, but you know. Yes. Go over there. You, I think I want for rude. I think I want you for the stripes. Yes. Yes. No. I think the other reason I like using watercolor so much is that it just works so well playing with other medium, adding other mediums too. Like, it handles taking other mediums very well. Unless the other mediums decide not to work. Hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on. This one's being a butt, a butt, a butt. Here we go. Yeah, that looks better actually. There's my white. There we go. Just gonna put the white over there because I am almost certainly going to need it again. Turns out I didn't need this red though. That's good. Yes. Anyways, so the series of kind of paintings that I've been doing that this kind of is going to be a part of now is going to be explained in a later episode. Stay tuned for that. Because I don't feel like explaining it twice, I'm gonna be honest. It may have already been explained also. I'm not entirely sure. I might just mess around with the scheduling of how I have stuff set up so that it gets explained beforehand. We'll see. We shall see. Either it hasn't been explained yet and it will be shortly, or it has been explained yet and I'm just rambling. It's one of the two. So, in order of recording, it has been explained. In order of videos going out, it may or may not be. Yeah, that seems like about the best way to explain that. Is So I'm actually recording a bunch in bulk because of, well, thing that's happening. Many things that are happening, actually, quite frankly. So, trying to get how I'm going to have everything scheduled for the YouTubes figured out. Aww, I accidentally stuck my fingy in the wet ink. I thought it had dried. No, it's canvas. That's probably why it didn't dry yet. Canvas can be a little bit picky about letting things dry. Anyway, excuse me. That was disgusting. Oh well. See if this yellow sticks out on this enough that I can use it. Nope. Immediately, no. Let's try this one. Because I want to use yellow, because I think that'll look better than... Are you going to do the dumb again? I don't have a yellow in the other gel pen. That's better. That seems to work better on canvas. Nope. Apparently yellow just doesn't want to stick out on this red. Rude. Rude, I say. Rude. So... Are you a marker? You are a marker, kind of. Problem is that you are also more of a highlighter. I don't think that's gonna work. Alright, it goes in black then, I guess. I was hoping to avoid doing that, but no. So the annoying thing is, I'm actually not horrible at calligraphy, but doing calligraphy on a textured surface like a canvas is ridiculously more difficult than doing it on like a paper. Which is really where the problem comes in. And there we go. I actually really like how this turned out. I really like this one. Yes. At some point in time, in the future, I'm going to have to do an old sketchbook tour because I've kept basically all of my old sketchbooks since middle school. And I say basically because I don't think I kept all of them. I don't think I want to use black on this one for the outline. I think black would be too harsh because it's all like softer colors. I think I'm going to use this pink instead. It's not going to quite match the rest of them, but you know what? I think it'll look better, and that's what really actually matters. I think he does actually have black eyebrows, or at least like a dark pink. So I think I'm going to steal the dark pink that I used for Al's eyes and use that for his eyebrows. Where it's like a dark red, not quite. It's like a purpley, reddy kind of color. You can see the color. I don't know why I'm trying to describe it to you when you have eyes and are capable of sight. That actually made that stand out a lot better. Yes. There we go. I think I'm going to outline your eyes in this too, that way I can give you your eyelashes better. There we go. There we go. That's better. I need to use it for your teeth too. Because I can't use pink for the teeth, that wouldn't work very well. And your golden toofuses. That actually worked weirdly well. Perfect. Well, not perfect. You smudged a little bit, but you know what? Close enough. There we go. I like that. Here we go. Here we go. Doodly doo. This is the part in which I'm more likely to go accidentally way quieter than I should, because I'm focusing more. There we go, there we go, there we go. You go there. Do I want to just use this color for the writing too? Or do I want to try that pink? Let's try this pink one and see how it looks. And if not, then we'll go back to that. Yes. There we go. I actually kind of really like that one too. It's very different from the rest of them. Although I guess it's probably because Angel isn't quite a creepy character. I mean, Alistair kind of falls under the being the creepy character in the aligned show. But Angel isn't that creepy, and thus I feel like it is correct that his thing is a little bit very different than the rest of them. But there we go. And with that, we are done. Everyone out there, enjoy the premiere. I know I will when I get to see it. And toodaloo.